Hello everyone and thank you for watching. I want to ask you a question. Why are you scared? Right? We are all scared. That's the truth. Some of us decide to do things, and some of us decide that we're too scared to do them. But sometimes not doing the things we want to do just because we are scared that it may not work out or we're scared of some consequences is, fair enough. But at the end of the day, sometimes in some cases, not doing anything about a situation or our life is worse than actually being scared yet doing it. I realized over the last few years that even though I was super scared of doing different things in my life, I still went for it. It's like a friend of mine, I think it was 1 year ago, and he said to me, Anne-Laure, you always say you're scared, but you still do the things. And I realized maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know, but maybe it's totally unreasonable. But the thing is, maybe it's just my personality. But I've been doing many things in my life, like quitting my job, going traveling on my own, backpacking, and surviving some of the situation I thought I would never survive. And yet, every single time, I was scared. And I think everyone is. It's a normal feeling. Some people also think that they can't do something, that it's impossible, right? There is a quote that goes like this. I think it's you must do the things you think you cannot do. And I think it's very true. And also, you don't know if it's impossible until you do it, right? And there's another quote I really like, and that motivates me more than anything. It's tell me it's impossible and watch me do it. Something like that. But I think you get the message behind it. Is that sometimes we don't know until we do things. When I quit my job, I was really scared. Like, I was gonna go traveling. Who knows if I was gonna like it, if I was gonna feel alone on the other side of the world. Who knows if I was gonna be able to find a job, after my trip. And there were many things in my life I was scared of. And on a day to day basis, I'm scared of doing different things. But the reward for doing it sometimes is much greater than the reward of staying in our situation. If we want our life to change, if we want to, experience something new, we're gonna have to make those steps without knowing the final destination. We don't know what's gonna come up on our road. And yes, we are scared, but we should not let those fears stop us. Of course, it's important to assess our situation. If we want to take a crazy risk, we have to measure the consequences. Again, like I always say, you don't have to quit your job and travel, to the end of the world. You don't have to do bungee jumping. You can do, things in the middle. But yeah, you're scared, but before the anxiety is much greater than doing the thing. Once you make that step of deciding to do that, it will be okay. I have a really stupid example, but when I was traveling in Laos many years ago, um, there was this place with a really tall tree, and there was a big thick branch from which that was very high, from which you could jump. I had told myself that during my backpacking trip, I would say yes to everything, right? So I went up the tree, I went on that branch, and I was so scared. It was very slippery, and people were, jumping, and I was just watching them thinking, oh my God, I'm just never going to be able to do that. It's just really crazy. And I was scared, I was paralyzed. And it took me, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes before being able to just, go in the middle of the branch and then throw myself in the water. Yet, even though I was in the middle of the branch, it was so hard for me to jump. But guess what? I went for it. But I was scared. It's a normal human being feeling. And then I jumped into the water and I liked it so much. It was so fun that I did it many times in a row. And that's the thing. Sometimes we don't know. I also want to say that it's also important in life to be curious and not let our fear stop us from exploring things. Being curious is very important. You know, in life and in the world, there are so many things we can experience, so many things we can learn, people we can talk to. Before traveling, for example, I'm an extrovert person, but I'm also quite shy as well. And I wouldn't really speak to strangers like this, on the street or in a cafe or when I was waiting in line. But then when I was traveling, I had to, at some point, speak to people. And I remember when I was in Indonesia traveling for the first time during my big backpacking trip, I was sitting at a hotel and I was having breakfast on my own, and it was the first few weeks of my travel, and I was still a bit intimidated by, just being so far away from home and just being on my own. And at that breakfast moment, there's a few people who asked me where I was from, and then we just kept the conversation going. And so, by just asking me a simple question, I had a great conversation with people. And from that, I started to ask people, oh, where are you from? Or, hey, what are you doing here? Or, what's your plan? Or, how long are you staying here? Just trying to make a first contact with people can open door to fascinating discussions, and to, meet great friends as well. Learning things, asking questions. Asking questions is very important. And sometimes we don't really want because we are scared or we are not sure if it's okay, but just go for it. Liberate yourself from those things that hold you back, those fears, those doubts. Right? There's nothing worse in life than just, going back within yourself and just not, opening up to people. Of course, if you are in the state of mind of doing it. But don't let yourself stop you. Only yourself stop you from doing things. I'm quite a spontaneous person. And sometimes I come up with this idea. It's a crazy idea, really crazy. And it's in my mind, especially, sorry, in regards to travel. And I wake up, I'm like, maybe I'm going to go there. And I just wake up and one day I do it. It was like, when was it? Last year I went to Vietnam and I was like, well, I'm just going to go to Vietnam. And there you go. From Japan, it's a bit easier than from other places because I'm based in Japan. And when was it? November, I think, November 2019. I was like, I want to go somewhere. I was like South Africa or Australia. And then I don't know why I thought, oh, well, I'm in Japan. So in Japan, do like the Japanese. So go to Hawaii. And that was never on my, travel plan. And I just woke up one day and I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to book it and I'm going to go for it. And you know what? When you're spontaneous, when you do things, it's actually like such an energy boosting thing. Why don't you wake up this morning and do some things you never thought you were gonna do? Sorry. Just do something spontaneous. There's this quote that says, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Think about it, right? So take a moment because it's a bit complicated quote, but it means that you just try to do something new. It is so rewarding. If you are a creative person, it's even more rewarding. It's going to give you a new inspiration, new boost, etc. When I got to Hawaii, I couldn't believe I had done it. I was just happy for myself. Even though I hadn't yet explored the island, it was really great. And I remember, and I'm just going on the travel story now, but so that small decision, spontaneous thing, led me to one of the best trip of my life. I arrived at the airport and I met a Portuguese girl who started to talk to me. And then, we stayed in touch. I went back to my hotel at night. We met to see, I think it was a hula dance show in the evening. And the next morning she messaged me saying, hey, I met some people at my hotel. We're going to rent a car and we're going to go on a road trip to the north to see a surf competition. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't, sure. Maybe I was on that morning I was like, oh, I'm tired, maybe I want to stay around. But then I decided, okay, I'm just gonna go. And I met this amazing bunch of people, and we went on a road trip. Like, I remember the car was a convertible car, and I was having such a deep, meaningful conversation with people I had just met from the morning. And then we saw each other for the rest of the trip. We spent every single day together. We went surfing together, we went hiking together, we ate together, drank together, laughed together, and we had such an amazing moment. So that's the point. Sometimes you have to go beyond your fear, sometimes you have to be curious, sometimes you have to be spontaneous. And the reward is unbelievable. Life is worth exploring. Be spontaneous, my friends. Be spontaneous and do things. I'm trying to send you some good vibes and good energy. And yeah, just please yourself. Life is worth exploring. I know now it's a little bit more complicated because we are all kind of at home around the world. But think about the future. What are some of the dreams that you have that you haven't explored? What are some of the things that you wake up in the morning and you wish you could do? Why don't you do them? Do them. It's an order. Have a good day wherever you are. Stay positive and enjoy your life. Bye.